Hey, good morning to everybody. Happy Thursday. It's Daryl here. It's bright and freaking early, man. It's 3 a.m. here in Connecticut on the East Coast. Okay, it's not even 3 a.m. I have such a hard time saying 3 a.m. I don't know what it is. Okay, I had an idea for a video this morning, and to be honest with you guys, I wanted to get out here. Before I started losing my nerve. I'm going to tell you guys stuff in this video that I have never told another living soul, and there's a reason I'm doing this. I was kind of inspired by some different people. I'm going to tell you about that in a second. And the second is to help other people, because I am 100% positive that there's thousands of other people out there that have gone through the same thing, both men and women. Okay, so if everything plays out like I'm thinking here, this video is going to be on my secondary channel, Staying Clean, and there's a reason for that. Let me tell you that really quick. Yesterday, I got yellow lighted for the video I did. I was very angry at Aaron Rodgers, and that video got yellow lighted, which isn't a big deal. That means I didn't get advertising for it. It's not, but I don't want to get two yellow lighted videos in a row. And I want to be able to talk about what I want to talk about in this video. So I decided I'm going to do this video. I'm going to download it on Staying Clean. And then I'm going to do a very short video. And I'm going to download that on Artist in Recovery to direct you guys to this video. And, okay. I want to talk about something that I've never told anybody before. And I was inspired this morning because I watched a video. And I'll put the link down below. I watched Robert Downey Jr. on the Golden Globes. And I'm just so amazed and impressed. This guy is, if I have any kind of hero or mentor or idol, it's Robert Downey Jr. This morning I spent the whole hour and a half I've been awake reading up on his progression, into addiction, out of addiction. And just the incredible man, the role he played in Oppenheimer was just amazing, just insane. I watched that movie with my mouth open, just like, I can't believe that's Robert Downey Jr. He just amazing performance. And I'm inspired to tell you guys more, to give you guys some more insight into the stuff I did in my addiction. Another reason is because I saw Steve-O from Jackass has a show, and he had Brandon Novak on the show. The two of them are sitting there, and Steve-O turns to him and he said something along the lines like, "Hey, so how many guys did you suck off back in your addiction?" or something like that. I could actually say that on this channel because it's not monetized, and their honesty, their just brutal honesty really impressed me. And I decided to tell you guys there's more to my story. Some of the stuff I did back in addiction. The reason I can talk about this now too is because I've been clean and sober since October 23rd, 2006. And the stuff I did back in addiction, I wasn't sure who I was. I honestly wasn't sure of my sexuality. And once I got clean and sober, I didn't try to be one thing or try to be another thing. I was just myself. And it turns out I am a totally straight dude. That's who I am. It's not who I'm trying to be. It's just, who I am. So over the last 17 years, I've got to know myself. And I look back at the stuff I did in addiction. And now it's a lot clearer to me why I did it. And on this channel, there's a video I did. I think it's called Sex, Porn, Crack, and Meth. And that video, I haven't done a video on this channel in months. And I'm getting subscribers every day, every week. People are watching that video constantly. So that inspired me to do this video too and put it on Staying Clean. Okay, this is just a tip of the iceberg. I'm going to talk about some of the stuff that I did back in addiction. And I think why I did it. Because like I said, for the last 17 years, I was completely celibate for the first 7 years. And I had this problem back when I was using I would use and I was attracted to, like I said in that other video on this channel, to pornography. I would sit in a room, I'd get my drugs and sit in a room and just rip pages out of a magazine and tack them on the walls. So I'd be sitting in a room naked with my drugs. and I'd be the wall would be covered with torn out pages of women with huge breasts, huge pendulous breasts, all over the walls, like the most obscene, vulgar pictures I could find. I'd put on the walls, and I look back at that, and some of the other stuff, that was some of the mild stuff I did, and I can see now. In yesterday's video, it got yellow lighted because I talked about being abused between the ages of 11 and 14. And one thing I don't do, I just let the chips fall where they are. I don't blame my addiction on that abuse. I really believe that I've always had an addictive personality. And now, but some of the stuff I did do in addiction, I could see why I did it. Okay, let's get down to the meat of this. What am I talking about? And this is just the tip of the iceberg. But I remember back in high school and in my early 20s when I first started using cocaine, I would go to parties, like, keg parties, and I would leave those parties after I got a buzz, and I would seek out adult bookstores. And this is what I did when I would go to those adult bookstores. I would go there with the intention, because I know that there was gay guys cruising there. I would go there with the intention of attracting them and selling myself for money for drugs. And this is something I did. I remember one party in particular. I left a keg party, all the football guys and everything at the party, pretty girls, and it was about 1 a.m. And I left the party, and I knew there was no bookstores or anything open, or any place where I could get drugs or money or sell myself or anything like that. And I drove down to Manhattan in my car, all hammered, and that's about 100 miles away. And I got lost. I ended up at LaGuardia Airport. I about 3 or 4 in the morning, I decided to turn around and go home. I never made it to Times Square. I was going to go to Times Square and sell myself and get money and drugs. And I drove back, and I actually woke up at my car was hitting the guardrails, and sparks were going by the window. And it was 4 in the morning. I was on 95 coming back to Connecticut. And like I said, the car was up against the guardrails, doing like 60 or 70 down the highway. And the sparks were going by the window. And I came back awake and pulled the car off. And this was a beautiful car I was driving, a 1973 Formula Firebird. And that's just one example. I was drawn to this. Now, this is what I would do when I went to those adult bookstores. And I could see why. Now, the reason I could talk about this, like I said, is I know who I am now. I know I'm a straight guy, but I could see that I had psychological issues back then too, having been abused. And the guy that was abusing me, the cop, he would give me rolls of quarters just to play pinball and video games. So I started to realize I could get money for this, and since I got used to this, his thing was servicing me. And so that was my idea, and looking at it, I could see that it was power, by me going there. I felt like I had power over these people, like I was in control of them. I was using them, and I I'm not a psychologist or anything, but I could kind of see why I was doing it now. I'm going to skip forward. I'm going to do more videos talking about this. These are just a couple random incidents. Like I said, now for the last 17 years, I was celibate for the first 7 years. And I've been in 2 relationships, with women. And, it's just normal. I'm a normal heterosexual guy. Now that I've been clean and sober, I don't have a pull. For the first couple of years, I was still triggered by adult material. But after 2 or 3 years, I wasn't even attracted to the adult material anymore. It wasn't a trigger for it. It doesn't get my blood all, I don't get that flush feeling when I see it, the trigger. I can't remember my dealer's phone numbers or anything like that. And, I was in normal, heterosexual relationships, and it's not something that interests me now. And I could feel like I could talk about it because, I could see why I did it. I was messed up. And, it wasn't who I was. I wasn't attracted to men. It was a control thing, I think, of trying to get some of my control back after being abused, and a way to get money. For like I said, and I was inspired to do this because of Steve-O's, him and Novak talking about this. I'm going to fast forward. I'm going to do more videos talking about this, but I'm going to fast forward. to right before I got clean and sober. And I was a mess. I was using heroin, I was using crack, and every day. And there was another addict in town. And I went to high school with him, and I heard that he was a cross-dresser, right? And in my head, I didn't even know if I was attracted to that or not. And I knew that he got money every month. He was in an accident, and he got a huge amount of prescription drugs and money every month. So I ended up, hooking up with this guy. I mean, just, using with him. And he had no place to stay. So I brought him back to my place. Right when I knew that he was getting the money and the drugs. And one night he's sitting in the living room, I'm in the living room. We're paging through porno magazines, smoking crack, tons of crack. We've been up for days. And he went upstairs and he came back down and he was dressed as a woman. He had like jeans on and makeup. And he hit on me. And, he said he wanted to service me. And he offered me money. And I kind of went along with it. And right at the last minute, I got angry. And I threw him out of my apartment. I drove him to a state park where I grew up, miles away, while he was still all dressed up. And I just dropped him off in the woods. And this was the 4th of July. It's not funny. It was in the early morning, and I dropped him off, and I just left him there. And I went back to my apartment. I just got so angry. Because all of a sudden it all clicked. As he was down below me, I remembered the guy that used to abuse me. And it was just like I was replaying this. I was doing it, and I got so angry at that one moment. I just said, you know what, you have to leave. And I got him in my car. And I drove him and dropped him off at State Park. And I kept using for a long time. I didn't get clean and sober for a couple more months. But he ended up making it back to my apartment. That night he walked back, and this was the 4th of July in a state park. So how he walked through this park dressed as a woman with makeup on, he didn't look like a woman. He just had parts of male clothes and female clothes, and he just looked like a drug-induced mess. And he walked about 4 miles back to my apartment. He got there at night, and I put all his stuff out on the front porch, and I was just using by myself in the house. And I heard the front window break, and he was breaking in my house. I don't know if he had drugs stashed in my house. And I chased him down the road with a baseball bat, and the cops showed up. And I thought I was going to jail. And it turns out he had more warrants than I ever knew. He had warrants, and the cops actually thanked me for directing me to him, and they took him into custody. The sad thing is, once I got clean and sober, about 6 months later, this guy contacted me, and I said, "Hey, I'm clean and sober, man. I don't want anything to do with you or that or anything." And he showed up at my door, and he's like, "Dude, I'm clean and sober too. Let's hang out." And I knew he was lying, and I almost, thankfully, I was clean and sober, and I didn't do anything rash, and I just slammed the door in his face, and that's the last I ever saw of him. But there's so many of these incidents where I acted out in this fashion to get money and it was more than money. It was control over men, over these gay guys. I see that now. And like I said, I could talk about that. And with a lot of it has to do with Brandon Novak and Steve-O, the way they're talking about it. This is something that happened, and it's not really, it's part of my addiction. It's not, I know it's not who I am. Not, being gay is fine if you're gay. But I wasn't gay. I had issues, and I was doing dangerous things, and I was using people and abusing myself in the process. And that's some of the stuff I want to talk about. So let's see. I see I'm running on 15 minutes now. So this is the first video, like I said, and I was inspired to talk about this because of the other video and all the people that have been watching it, and Brandon Novak and Steve-O, and they're just blatant. They're blatant admission about doing guys for money, to get money for drugs, selling themselves, and how they've come to terms with that. You think it's only women that do that once they get into drugs, and it's not. It's guys too. If there's a possibility that you could sell your body or your soul to get these substances, you'll do it. And that's why I'm making this video. Recovery is possible. I mean, full recovery. Like I said, if I was gay that'd be fine, you know, if I was gay now. But I know I'm not. And I look back at the stuff I did, and I could see why I did it. You know, I could see it makes me sad, really, how lost I was for all those years. Recovery is possible. I'm happy now. I know who I am, and I have enough confidence where I can make a video like this to try to help other people. All right, I'll be back with more videos like this. If you like it, I'm actually going to say this. If you like this, subscribe to this channel, Staying Clean. All right, I'll be back later with another video, you guys. Recovery is possible. Have a good Thursday.